When most people hear that I have been married and am now divorced, the most common first reaction I get is, "What? How is that even possible? You're way too young." Well, thank you. What most people don't realize, though, is that if it weren't for my marriage and my subsequent divorce, I would not be where I am right now, and I'm pretty happy where I am right now. Hey guys, Dorothea here of Zingar World. Today I felt inspired to open up more about my past life. Yes, my past life as a married woman, as a homeowner, as someone who worked a 9-to-5 job, as a normal human being before I got into this lifestyle that I'm living now, living on the road, going wherever I want, being a freelance writer, all of those things. I got married at the tender age of 21 years old, which, believe it or not, for where I was living at the time, was kind of on the older end, especially for a female. I was living in Utah, which is an extremely religious state in the US, and although both me and my ex were raised in extremely religious households, neither of us were practicing, neither of us were believing in the religion, but we were still really sensitive to the social pressure to get married, especially before living together. That is super, super taboo within our religion to be living together, which is to say you're sexually active before being married, which is kind of stupid because we were definitely sexually active before we were married, but out of respect for our families, we got married. It was very much just kind of like, well, this is what we're doing, so let's do it. I remember distinctly on my wedding day in my dress feeling just super tense and like, I can't do this, this is so wrong, why am I doing this? I chose to ignore those feelings and just go along with it thinking, well, it's just cold feet, it's normal, just do it, it's fine, all these people, all this money that's been spent, I don't want anyone to hate me. I was really sensitive about that at the time. So I got married. From day one, literally from the first day, it was not good. It was really bad, okay? Like, I don't want to say it was horrible, because if it was, then, well, I don't know. We wouldn't have been married for so long. I don't know. We stuck it out for 3 whole years, but in those 3 years, we were fighting a lot. And we had the same argument. How do I describe this? I don't want to get too intimate with these details because I do respect him and his privacy. The best way I can put it is that he loved me for my potential. He knew me and he saw who I could be in his eyes, and he wanted that version of me, not who I am right now in that moment. Which put a lot of stress on me to be something that I wasn't, to look some way that I wasn't, and just to not be me. And I just felt really inauthentic the whole time. I felt really torn between wanting to make it work and not being myself. And who am I true to? Am I true to him or am I true to myself? This whole time I was feeling like, okay, yeah, I know we have problems. It's obvious, but I'm married to this guy. I need to make this work. We need to make this work. There was this tremendous pressure to work through our problems and to suffer through them. Divorce just never really seemed like an option. 3 years later, we were both just as miserable in our relationship as ever. And I decided to go on this internship program to Costa Rica, which was a 5-week-long program, completely uprooting me from my normal life in Utah, where it was winter at the time, to summer in Costa Rica. Different environment, different people, different responsibilities, different food, just overnight, literally everything in my life completely changed for this intensive 5-week program. I was so busy doing what I was doing, tending to all of my responsibilities with this internship, that I completely forgot about home life. I literally just left it on the airplane. It was gone. I was a new person now. It wasn't until I walked onto the bus, which was supposed to take me to San Jose to return me to Salt Lake City, that I realized oh my gosh, I can't do this. I felt like I was walking into a wall. I felt a physical resistance in my body come up, that I could not return to this life. At the same time, I knew that I couldn't run away. I had 5 hours to think about it on the bus, and during that time, I had a really intense experience where I was able to, for the first time, close my eyes and envision what my life would look like if I wasn't with him, if I wasn't in this relationship. What I saw was a freakily accurate version of my life now and of my life immediately after the divorce. It was a visionary experience, to be honest. Like I've never had anything like it. From the moment when I had that visionary experience until the moment when I sat down my husband on the couch and said, "Hey, this is beyond repair. I need to divorce you." It was less than 48 hours, which I know is extremely fast to be making such an important life-changing decision. But I have no better way to explain it than just to say I knew it. Like I knew that this was right, and I knew that I couldn't ignore it like I had on my wedding day. I had to follow through with this. I also knew myself really well, and I knew that if I let it go for more than 2 or 3 days, then I would chicken out. I would like conveniently forget about the good times in Costa Rica and how good I felt and the vision and everything that I experienced. And I would just be like, nope, just gotta fight through this, just gotta keep going, keep trying. We continued to live together for the next month following that conversation, which ironically was probably the best month of our entire relationship, because for once we didn't have any expectations of each other. We didn't have any walls. We could just openly talk about our problems and what really was going on, what really we were thinking about, because it was over. So there was no point in trying to like fake your way into convincing the other person to stay. Like it was all said and done. We cried a lot together. We laughed a lot together. We reminisced. We apologized a lot to each other. It was a really, really emotional time for me. And it was kind of like we were breaking up for a month straight, which is kind of torturous, really, but it was also really therapeutic in a lot of ways. And it prepared me, I think, for the next chapter and being able to move on from that relationship. The following month after that was the last month of our lease, which meant it gave me the perfect amount of time to say goodbye to my work in a nice way, to sell all of my stuff, literally selling like my car. We had a fully furnished house a few years before that, so we had like a couch and a fridge and a washer and dryer and a king-size bed and all this stuff that we had to get rid of. Say all of my goodbyes to all of my friends and family in the area and buy a one-way ticket to Hawaii. I chose Hawaii because I had an invitation from a friend who lives there full-time with her family. They partially own a farm, a sustainable organic fruit farm on the Big Island, where they have a work trade program, and it just made sense. I needed to completely shake things up again and get a new environment, get a new stomping grounds, not knowing at all what was going to become of my life. What if I was going to live there forever, if I was going to go back to the mainland eventually, if I don't know. I had dreams of traveling the world, but none of that was transpiring at the moment. I was just like, Hawaii is my next stop, and that's as far as I can see. That first downsize of getting rid of all of our household appliances, all of our household furniture, everything, and fitting all of my life into 2 checked bags and 2 carry-on bags, which now looking at, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. But at the time, that was a huge downsize for me, and it was a really big move in the direction of minimalism and letting go of physical stuff. It's true when they say that your problems don't just get solved by where you're at. Like you still have problems no matter where you're at. And my problems came with me to Hawaii. My insecurities, my guilt, my everything, all of my issues came with me for sure in that suitcase to Hawaii, and I had to deal with them hardcore on the Big Island. I had no idea that my time in Hawaii would open the door for the rest of my adventures. Over the next 2.5, almost 3 years now, I've been living on the road, and it all started in Hawaii, and it was because of another invitation to a festival in the UK that I was able to hop a few oceans and work at a festival for a few days, come back to the US, traipse around the US for a while, working at various festivals on the road at different events and different retreats, and eventually with another invitation to Peru, where my best friend that I had met in Costa Rica invited me to spend the summer with her. That is like the super condensed version of that year of my life. Obviously, it's a lot more complex than what I could ever convey in this short 10-minute YouTube video or however long it is now. I like to say now that getting married was the best decision of my life, and getting divorced was equally the best decision of my life. Because if both of those things hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be the person I am now, and I wouldn't be where I am now. And like I said, I really like who I am and where I am right now. Some of the biggest life lessons that I learned through all of this was to live the life you want to live unquestionably. You don't need to make excuses to yourself. You don't need to make explanations to other people, whether that's outside of religion, whether that's outside of your family norm, whether that's outside of your relationship. Do your thing. Like do what you do and don't apologize for it. You don't have to. Another life lesson that I've learned through all of this, and I continue to learn throughout my life, is that you don't have all the answers right now, and things might be scary, but that's okay. There are more answers than you can even dream of. There are answers to your questions that it's impossible for you to conceptualize of right now. I never, ever thought during my 3 years of marriage that divorcing my husband and moving to Hawaii was even an option. Like, that wasn't even on the table, but I did it. And since then, I've done incredible things. I've seen incredible parts of the world. I've learned another language on the road. I've done things that I never would have thought possible, and I'm sure my future holds similar things that if I knew of them right now, I would think that's crazy. It might seem right now with your limited vision that you only have like 2 or 3 options at best, but I'm here to tell you today that you have so many more. You have so many more that you don't know about. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave them down below. As always, subscribe if you like this channel, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.